everyone. We plan to bring a T-shirt and all the rest of the marketing component of the company for the event. Unfortunately, U.S. Customs didn't allow it to come here. I understand the mix of glowing and hot is too explosive maybe, so I'm very sorry guys, we don't have T-shirts this year or hoodies or iPads or anything. Regardless, it's a good excuse for me to introduce what we do in PII as we don't have marketing, so now it's better than when we do it the rest of the time. So basically, first thing is a research center that is in the UAE. For those who doesn't know, it's a place that is very, very hot, but still nice things happen there besides the oil. So what we do is we try to diversify the economy from oil and basically tourism into something that is more based on knowledge. And as part of it, DII has plenty of research centers. One of the research centers is the Cryptographic Research Center. Another one is a quantum research center, and there are plenty others. But the synergy, for instance, between a quantum and a cryptographic one is something very interesting for us and very relevant also for the topic. So it's always nice. So just a few remarks as we do usually, but we keep growing and we keep working with many places. So given the nature of the UAE, we have a very diverse amount of people in our team. So people come from 37 countries, plenty of languages are spoken in the office. We have still a very vast ratio of male to female. We are trying also to incorporate the local students into the company. So we want also to spread the knowledge and try to raise talent for the country. Ironically, in our bad ratio, the local community is actually the opposite. We have 80% of local women and only 20% of local males that are on the team. So it's something kind of strange. Besides that, we have 43 PhD holders, and we are having some international students. We accept internships, and also we are collaborating with 7 universities nowadays. So just to introduce a bit the team, so we have a team composed by many researchers, but each of the ones that we are putting here are people that actually takes care of a team or that are of special relevance because they are actually being the technical directors. And we have Francisco and Mike here today, helping also with all this community and creating events and also creating attraction towards topics that we feel really engaged, which is the topic of this event. So long story short, here we have a similar product. So we are trying to diversify what we were doing before. Initially, TI was a research center focused on pure research. Nowadays, we are trying to move into applied research and productization. So we are developing some products. As of now, we have 13 differentiated products that we are nowadays offering towards companies, or in some cases, we are selling them ourselves. Just to summarize, this is a bit of the topics that we are mostly focusing in the Cryptographic Research Center. I think quantum is something that we all have been hearing about, so I will skip this one. Then we have cryptographic protocols in all the scopes, so hybrid protocols for communication to, I don't know, like communication for broadcasting video, trying to set up a key agreement, trying to spread keys when you want to do a turn on of a server and you don't want to rely on trust. So there are different characteristics. Then we have the theoretical and practical cryptanalysis, which in our case it extends to cryptanalysis of AI-based models. So there is a research going on by Francisco and Adi Shamir also that is focusing on the idea of how to obtain the information, the secret information of the AI model from using it. And then we have I would say, the common ones about how to implement cryptography properly, how to set up proper good practices, secure, constant time, resistant to attacks. We have also the team that is based on putting the things in very lightweight devices. So basically, our team is usually quite demanding, and then we have devices that do not accommodate for it. So we want to help communities and other partners in the industry to be able to integrate that. And finally, we are focusing on what a lot of communities focusing nowadays, which is trying to provide privacy on machine learning, and it includes both sides, the computation and the transfer of information from the queries. That being said, I think if anyone was here the previous years, our panel didn't change from last year. So basically, we have the same individuals. They are experts in different areas. So post-quantum, cryptanalysis, machine learning, development, hardware integration. And yeah, basically, this is all I think you need to know in order to understand what we are and what we do. I don't want to take more time from this event, from the important part. So, please, Francisco, do you want to take it from here?
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning. We are going to start GHTC to 2024. So we started this idea. This is our third edition, so we started this 2 years ago. The first GHTC that we had, because we were not here, was about crypto agility. It was very successful in the sense that it was a very timely topic, and you can find it in the YouTube if you want to have a look on those videos. Last year, we decided to have as a main topic of GHTC, crypto meets AI. That was the topic for last year. And this year, we were thinking about what would be the best topic to discuss. And we came out with this idea of hashtag cryptography overpromised and under-delivered. And we have divided this topic in 4 different roundtables that we'll be discussing this, considering different aspects. And I think it's very nice, very interesting, the different aspects that we're going to discuss. Also, we have an awesome lineup of speakers, so it would be really, really nice if you can stay here for the whole day. Yeah, I'm sure that you will have a lot of takeaways and things that will be discussed here. So basically, this is the idea of the glowing hot topics in cryptography workshop series. And we hope to create like a tradition in crypto about having these panels where we discuss in an extended way different topics that are of our interest as a community. The organizers of this edition are my colleagues Mike Scott and Victor Sucatas, and we have also the participation of Alison Bishop, who is going to be with us in the last table. This is the program that we have prepared for you guys. This is what we are going to discuss during the whole day. We have, as I mentioned, 4 roundtables, and all of them are going to be here. The first one is going to start right immediately after I complete this short introduction. Just for you to know, the first roundtable is about blockchains, NFTs, the Web3, cryptocurrencies, big buzzwords. We are going to discuss them with our panelists, and Mike Scott's going to be the moderator for that table. For roundtable 2, we are going to discuss, you guys said, yes, post-quantum cryptography, are we ready? You know that last week, and we finally announced the standards for doing post-quantum crypto, for keys and signatures. And so there are so many things to discuss about this. Are we really ready for that? And also, again, we have an awesome lineup of speakers for this table. I will be moderating these guys and trying to steer the discussion so that we have a debate about these topics. For roundtable 3, we will be talking about privacy. Also, we have here our panelists, and it's going to be very, very fun. Here, for instance, we have questions like, what about fully homomorphic encryption? Is it ready or not? What about obfuscation? Is it happening or not? Things like that. Finally, in our last roundtable 4, we have not 4, but 5 panelists. And we will be discussing things that for sure can take, not just 1 hour, but the whole day. What about our peer review system? Is it working? Do we need to make some changes? What can we do about it? And the second topic that we are going to analyze in that roundtable is also the exponential growing of our IACR conferences. are we going to meet the challenge of handling this always growing conferences? And we are going to introduce actually a new Muslim, the IACR Muslim, trying to establish how often we double the number of submissions in our conferences. And yeah, the number can be scary on that regard. So as you can see, the whole day is full of information of photography. The speakers are really nice, so it would be really great if you can be with us during this amazing event. Thank you very much. So we are now ready to start the first roundtable. Let's start here.
It's a little go to the first slide. You have to go all the way past.
Cryptocurrency, blockchain, all of that, if you like. I guess that when I first started interested in photography, it was a relatively niche research area. I was interested in it, but one that not many people knew about. But with the advent of Bitcoin in particular, crypto has kind of got famous very quickly.
Actually, more slides.
Big thing, something everyone, man in the street knows all about
The
it.
next one.
To talk about it.
The one with table one.
It thinks it's relevant. Just
It's
to
like
give you an example, on the way
silver
over
one.
in the airplane here, I was reading The Economist, very important magazine. This ad caught my eye. I just read it out. It says, keep your head in the cloud. Adoption is the law
It
of
could be this
tomorrow.
one.
Web 3.0 is bringing disruption and endless possibilities. Are you ready to embrace continuous innovation? Right, so that's sort of thing top executives are reading. Another example, this is all within the same day. I was in a taxi
Thank you, sir.
on the way back here, and my colleague was talking to a taxi driver, and he overheard us refer to a crypto conference. And that taxi driver was in there like a shop, asking about Bitcoin, and asking about blockchain, and asking about mining. Knowledge of crypto, awareness of crypto is pretty widespread because of the fame, if you like, the success of blockchain and the impact that it had. And certainly from that kind of experience, you'd expect it would be expected. Maybe this is a transformative technology. Cryptography, as it bursts out of its little niche and is now something that's, is going to change the world. It's pretty big stuff. I noticed while this conference is happening here, there's another conference going on in Las Vegas on blockchain, and all the blockchain companies are out there. And the main speaker is a presidential candidate, no less, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's the lead speaker, right? I know at least one other presidential candidate has shown a recent interest in Bitcoin and crypto. So I mean, crypto has arrived, if you like, on the back of blockchain. It's kind of made us all famous. Anyway, not for me. We've got these. We've got a lovely panel of speakers here, and we're going to talk about it. And basically, what we're interested in here is a cryptographer's view of all of this that's going on. Right? We get a lot of opinions from from other people, but we want to see what's happening. What do the crypto guys working down in the engine room? What do they think about what's going on? Right. So hopefully get some insight from the speakers. Would you care to introduce yourselves? I mean, don't be modest, but if you are, I'll fill in on your famous attributes.
So thank you for the invitation. It's very nice to see a lot of familiar faces in the crowd. So I'm Michel Abdallah, and I'm researching cryptography. Currently, I'm working as a research scientist for Nexus. Prior to that, I was also was at Affinity, worked together, even though we were in different sites. And prior to that, I've been doing research in cryptography for 20 plus years. They actually stopped counting because they usually reduce your age. So, looking forward, then we'll get to the topic later.
Yeah, you're also head of the IACR, so
Yes.
that's important.
Right now I'm wearing the company hat, so later on probably I will also wear the ICR hat as the ICR president.
Okay, Ben?
Yeah, hi, I'm Ben Lin. I am, back in the day, I was a cryptography researcher. Working on what's called BLS signatures now. And I also work with Mike, actually, back in the day. I collaborated on finding certain elliptic curves which are now called BLS curves. And these happen to be used in blockchain, oh yeah, so after I was a student, I sort of got sick of academia, went to the industry, was at Google for a while, and then I joined the Affinity because they told me they were going to try and productionize BLS signatures, so I had to be there to see it. Yeah, that's all for now.
Hi, my name is Jeffrey. I want to echo that I work for the team that actually productionized the signatures. So I'm from Imperial Foundation. I've been there for 3 years. Before that, I worked on Argon, and at Argon, we also try to productionize BI signatures. So it's always about BI signatures. And then before that, I did some work on the post-quantum crypto. I'm really happy to be here.
Because I regard Ben, as I described him, as the greatest common author of BLS curves and BLS signatures, because he's the common L in the middle of those two groundbreaking developments. Right. Well, it's always nice to have an audience because you can always poll them at any time. Let me just ask this question. How many of you have active cryptocurrency wallets at the moment for whatever purpose? Okay. Not many. How many of you use those wallets for anything other than moving your crypto, managing your crypto assets for other purposes? Good man. There's Francisco over there. Okay, well that's interesting. Right. I might poll you again later about some other things. So can I have you, some of you maybe answered this already, but were you drawn to blockchain? Because you all worked in blockchain. I mean, one thing to emphasize is you all have expertise outside of blockchain, obviously, or your crypto existence beyond that. But what drew you to working in the blockchain space?
Okay, so in my case, I'm probably one of the comers for the blockchain world. Actually, most of my work was on different types of encryption and also key exchange, and then, but was always fascinated by the cryptocurrency world or blockchain world more generally, because it's one of the it gives you an opportunity to bring cryptography to practice. Actually, like one of the first things that you learn once you're in this domain is that you have to really make a distinction between cryptography and crypto, because I think now I accept that once we refer to crypto, most people understand cryptocurrencies or blockchains. And I think it's as I said, it's a nice idea. There are many challenges when making things decentralized and removing the third party control. And as I said, there are no number of challenges that have to be addressed. And I think this is what makes it so interesting. You have the research side and also the practical side. You can see it actually being used in reality.
For me, it was primarily vanity, I suppose. They said, I mean, when I was a student presenting at conferences, no one would pick up on our stuff. But we had these great papers and no one cared to see them. And so when someone said they were going to productionize BLS, I just wanted to see it happen. But on top of that, though, for me, blockchain is just a Merkle tree with consensus, like a single source of truth. And in my opinion, like the Git, the version control system, it's sort of shown that it can solve problems. And I feel like there ought to be a use of these things besides source control. Like it just has to be. So I do feel there is some application out there that I mean, it has already conquered source control. Maybe it's good for something else. Yeah.
Thank you. So I guess you have already touched base on the fact that blockchain adopts like cryptography faster than or sooner than the conventional spaces, right? Conventional industries, and I think that's a huge benefit. And on top of that, we have this open source community or open source philosophy that everything should be open source, and that's the other thing that really attract me. So I guess that's a combination of getting yourself work, get your work noticed by other people, and get it being shared and be reused by other people.
Right, so would it be fair to summarize and say that we're all, if you like, flattered by the crypto industry's interest in us and our skill set? But at the same time, is it possible to pick up a slight hint of embarrassment in the more wider cryptographic industry about crypto?
Sorry, would you mind repeating the question?
Right, no, I'm just saying, I mean, I guess we're all flattered by the world, the community's interest in cryptography that arises out of blockchain. We're flattered that they want us, they want our skills, they want to know more about the research that we do, the results that we can bring. We're flattered by that. But at the same time, I would suggest that are we a little embarrassed by that interest? As cryptographers in general, our association with cryptocurrencies is that a slightly ambiguous relationship, not entirely an embrace in both directions, or?
Well, personally, I don't think so. To me, it's a technology that is out there, and if we don't help make it better, probably people will go ahead and try to implement it anyway, and probably the wrong way. So it's often the case that the cryptographic products in general, when people try to implement without having cryptographic expertise, they tend to make a lot of assumptions that are incorrect. And like, why would we feel ashamed for that? And I don't think so. I think we actually we have to embrace it's a new technology, and should do our best to actually put it to use and help get things right. Of course, there are not everything in this area. There are a lot of scammers. There are a lot of issues that concrete problems. People like cryptocurrencies being used for scammers. There's a way in trying to avoid traceability. There are concrete problems that have to be addressed, but I don't think that this should make us move us away from that. Actually, this is where we should come in and help.
Yeah, I guess there is. I slightly disagree. I do think there is a bit of embarrassment, but there does seem to be a lot of hype and scams out there, and but yeah, I don't know. I try not to think about it and just do my own thing. Like to keep working on the engine in the engine room, as it were. Yeah. 。
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, kind of share the same feeling as Ben. So it feels like you have to work for the right project, and there are so many standards there. Like, but eventually you are doing crypto research and cryptography research. It's the work that matters, and I don't really care too much like how people think about it. That's my feeling.
Oh, just to be clear, I'm not supporting its cameras in any way. What I mean that, like if I see cryptocurrency as one area where cryptographers can help propose systems that are actually secure in use. So Ben has been involved in that way before I was there. And as I said, I believe it's something that we should actually help make it better. Of course, as every other technology, there will always be misuse. And I don't think just because of that, we should only shy away from that. We actually have to address it. That's my opinion.
Okay, let's talk a bit more about crypto and its association and its involvement with blockchain. One thing we all have in common, I think, is an interest in pairings. And when pairings came out, they offered the possibility of new constructions that weren't previously possible. You could do quite elaborate things with pairings outside of, digital signature, key exchange, encryption. So pairings brought a lot to the table. I mean, to what extent would you agree that the more elaborate extensions of pairings and more elaborate potential applications, of blockchains depend on those new constructions? In other words, if pairings hadn't happened, would blockchain, would we be talking about Web3 and all these other more elaborate applications?
I can take that, I guess. So yeah, I guess one of the quotes that I really liked from the Ethereum team was like, Ethereum 2.0 is not possible without your signatures. So your signature, the aggregation feature really makes Ethereum proof of stake consensus possible. So I think that's a huge thing. And the other thing that again you guys are working at the Ethereum proofs is also on the on parent and the cyclic curves, etc. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like, if without pairing, we look at the blockchain in 2020, then that's a stage where we don't have pairing. And after that, all the advancement comes. I mean, I'm not saying all the advancement come from pairing, but like pairing plays a really huge role here. Pairings are a big part of the blockchain Definity works on. It's used in the distributed key generation, the BL signatures for consensus and so on. But I don't know what it would be like without pairings. I mean, I get the feeling you probably could do some of those things, but there'd be more around some communication, maybe a lot less efficiency and so on. And to be honest, pairings are a bit slow already, so it'd be a lot worse if it was even slower than those.
To me, pairings, I think since it started being used in crypto, has always been this magic tool that allows you to do so many things, and people start having a lot, like IBE was one of them. I think the fact that, as I said, the PLS signature, that it can have this unique signature, deterministic, gives you so many different properties that is exploited everywhere. And like in the context of blockchains or zero knowledge proofs, being able to develop concise proofs, it's quite impressive. But at the same time, I see it a point of concern. Like we're gonna have other discussions over later on about post-quantum security. And in that context, we still don't have a reasonable solution that does something similar to what parents can offer us.
That was my very next question. What happens when the rug gets pulled from under parents and quantum computer happens and that just all collapses? Have we really got alternatives out there? Really, ones that will really work or without degrading everything even more?
Sorry, to me, as I said, that's a real concern. We like to, once we how to address the world, like cryptography in a post-quantum world. Like personally, I have zero clue how realistic quantum computers will be because I speak to several people in the community. Some say that perhaps the panel later on might help with that respect, but some people do believe that it's within reach to build at least even if cryptography might not be the main application of quantum computers, the fact that it's out there that could be used, it would be an issue. So we have to prepare for that. And some of the things that we already know how to address, we already have similar solutions. We can go for lattice-based solutions, which for the moment seem to be post-quantum secure, but we all had a little scare a few months ago, and some people were concerned, like, what if we don't have lattices, or which other tools that we're gonna have to only rely on hash-based solutions, perhaps for post-quantum security. That would have been a bit hard to deal with, but. Like, I'm hopeful that we're given enough time, and since this is a problem that we have to actually deal with, that we're going to be able to go around and find better solutions. Perhaps not as ideal as parents, but reasonable ones.
Yeah, sorry, I actually don't know much about quantum cryptography, except it seems to be, I don't know, 5 years away, and they've been saying that for decades, so hopefully they'll keep up. And it's, and yeah, so it's not something I really I've thought about much.
Well, I thought about it quite a few times. There's actually a roadmap for Ethereum to be post-quantum, and we actually have plans to replace most of the components that are display log-based or iron-based. And even if there are components that we cannot find a solution like the signature, right now we are actually exploring like a solution with a government solution. Yeah, so we take it really seriously, and actually this Vitalik seems like the next Ethereum upgrade. I mean, not the immediate next, but this has to be on the roadmap and will have to be postponed eventually.
Yeah, it always surprises me, given the amount of value and the money tied up in cryptocurrencies, that there wasn't kind of more alarm around post-quantum happening, because if it happens tomorrow, a lot of people might lose a lot of money. Serious amount.
Just to, I guess, if we really see that happening and we want to do the migration tomorrow, then there are solutions. Like, it's going to slow the blockchain significantly. It's like the pub TKIs. You can replace the consensus with pure number hashes, and you can replace the EC signatures with Gallium or Falcon, etc. And I would say, like, there are mitigation, but we won't be able to deploy the mitigation right away. In the same way that the attack happens to the Web 2, and the Web 2 company won't be able to deploy the mitigation right away. I think this sensor don't have any disadvantage per se.
Another thing, another question, and moving on to something a little bit different. If someone asked me, like, we all, AI is huge at the moment, if someone had asked me what was the connection between blockchain and AI, my instant reaction would be none at all. Like, And then someone might say to me, yeah, you could use artificial intelligence to predict the price of Bitcoin. And I might go, oh, yeah, maybe not. But then I Googled for blockchain and AI, and it's all over the place. It's huge. Gartner have a report out saying blockchain and AI, the perfect marriage. You know, so a lot of people think this is a very exciting convergence of two technologies to the benefit of both. So perhaps you guys could enlighten me. What is the relevance of what does blockchain bring to AI? What does AI bring to blockchain?
Sorry, I can take a first stab on this. So again, quite like hot topic nowadays is so far the progress with developing machine learning, and we'll have a session here too. But just to give an idea that there are no tools to prove machine learning or machine inferencing is one of the solutions to practice for developing machine learning. So, and if you put the ZKML proof on chain, then that's the application between AI and blockchain. And the idea will be that you kind of don't trust the ChatGPT or trust whatever model that the returns of whatever model that you have. You want to have verifiable inference, and you want to say, okay, I paid for the price of GPT 4.0, I don't want to get rid of GPT 2.0. Yeah. Well, it's very pretty much fun. I think majority of these applications is really imaginary, like there's a really good market for it yet, but it's certainly a trend. It's like we see AI 10 years or 15 years from now, what will need to verify with it, and that's again not what.
Yeah, so there are others that are definitely looking into this. So yeah, I'm afraid it's not mine, especially, so I got nothing to say.
Like AI is not my specialty, but in general, I think machine learning in general has revolutionized things. Like there are so many different applications, and but we also know we're aware of the risks, the issues with privacy. GK was mentioning. I think it's important. Perhaps the combination running
Do you know
AI
why the Zoom account
with like adding privacy,
might be being signed in New York?
preserving
Is there another
properties,
person
adding
who was
verified
given the login?
combination
No.
with the knowledge
Should I just
tools,
deny it?
and then
Okay.
running the decentralized platform, perhaps
Not that I know of.
where
No.
you can guarantee that
Yeah.
it's not under control
How
or
many people do we have
of
online?
a single safe. And,
Are,
yes, as
People
it
joining
mentions,
Zoom?
I don't really have a clear.
is, I
application
thought we
in
were
mind.
just recording with
And
the
I
Zoom.
think,
Are
oh,
people
perhaps,
joining?
some of you in the
I don't
audience
know. I
may
thought
have,
that some of them were
feel free to,
attending
type
live,
that. But
like remotely connected.
AI in
Or is that
general
the case? I'm not sure.
is an area that cannot be ignored.
If they were,
I
because there
think
was an
the
option
main
to
tool, the
register
main task for us is to
online
try to,
for people who were
address the
planning to
security
attend,
issues that come
but I'm
with
not
it.
sure about
uh,
so where would
and see
the
which
Zoom
are the
link have been
benefits
posted to?
by
For
running,
those people to join?
centralized
Was there, where would it have been posted to?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
They
talk
can
about
always
that, which is
go to
actually
the
not Gartner
channel
report,
later,
it's KPMG report.
Yeah, it's still being
Blockchain in
recorded.
general with AI, perfect pairing, in fact.
Yeah, in the past editions, there were people online.
Another recent
Okay,
paper I
now
saw,
I-
blockchain and AI
I'm not
meet in the
sure
metaverse. Now we got a
about
third one thrown into
how
the
that-
mix.
Okay.
Blockchain, AI,
But I can
metaverse,
ask Dave at the next break.
mix them up, sir, what do you get? Okay, maybe we don't want to go there. By the way, if members of the audience want to chip in, that's entirely welcome. So there's probably a microphone that could be sent around if anyone wants to ask the question. There's one there. Have we got a question? Sorry. Want to say something?
Yeah. Do we have a microphone? So, Microphone? yes. Another microphone?
I don't mind projecting.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to know where I'm
It's my role here.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
So I just wanted to mention an overlap between AI and everything what we're talking about here that I've heard of. So you have like a model that is for like assessing the value of say certain financial products, and that model is someone's trade secret. So, but they want to be able to apply that model to things, I don't know. So you want to keep the weights private to whoever owns that model, but you also want to know that the inference came from them. So that's kind of, yeah, an application of AI that really makes sense for blockchain stuff. I just wanted to add that to the conversation.
okay, no, that's great. That's a plausible example of how all might work. And so another question for our speakers. Oh, sorry, another question, sorry.
I don't ask easy questions, okay, so, let me preface this question with a story, which is in 1993, I was working at Sandia National Labs Supercomputer Center, and my director asked me to go to a meeting at NCSA to meet Mark Andreessen, who was working on the Mosaic browser at the time. So I go to this meeting. Mark Andreessen was like 12 years old at the time, so I felt a little out of place there, but I asked him a question, so why am I here? What problem are you trying to solve? And he said, well, we want to be able to sell things on the World Wide Web, so we need to provide some security for this. So I explained public key cryptography for him. The thing about it, he had a great answer to my question. What problem are you trying to solve? So my question to you is, what problem are you trying to solve with all of this technology? What are the core problems you're trying to solve? Because if you start from those, you'll get better answers.
No, this is for the topic, so Web3 in particular.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin, for the nice question. Actually, I think it's a very relevant point to raise. In general, sometimes we're trying to solve like apply technology, but we don't think about exactly the problem that we're trying to solve. And like I think in the blockchain setting, the main issues that people are trying to solve is this reliance on third parties and having the big cloud running by big machines, big companies that have all the access to your data, and you have to trust them for whatever they promise they're doing. And in the decentralized world, you expect to actually that things can be run in a distributed manner, that no single entity has control over that. Whether that is a reality is a huge question, because like for a lot of blockchains, you end up seeing that the network ends up being under control by very few entities, and it's not the centralization is not that great. So this is one point. As I said, the AI question bringing in like how to the concrete application of trying to improve the price, because you have some type of application that has confidential information. Can you run that in a verifiable manner without leaking that? I think this is that is more, I see more of an application for ZK space than not so much for the Web3 decentralized world. But those are complete ones. But in AI, like I also have a different.
I just started a meeting,
like,
so I
yes, I
don't
understand
know
that
that. Zoom
you're trying to protect the
Got it.
privacy of the model.
they didn't have their own
that you're
meeting.
using the weights and everything,
hear
but
anything about that.
sometimes by just using the system, a lot of information leaks anyways, and like how much information actually leaks is very important to detect, because you can try to put all this machinery on top, but you really cannot prevent that information from leaking. So
No, we didn't do
that's the question. Sorry, I didn't catch your name, but later will.
I guess one problem that it solves, well, and trying to solve is, maybe consensus, like, I know at Google, they actually published a paper on this, they have a system, the Paxos basically, which, ensures that they reach, that the various data centers reach consensus, so I believe they have 7 data centers around the world, and you have to compromise 3 of them if you want to mess up Google, and for them, it's obviously quite a valuable thing, and so it might not just be valuable for other people besides Google, and maybe that's something that blockchain can offer. And another thing, I think, as I said, I think blockchain is basically Merkle trees plus consensus. And I believe Merkle trees has been proven to be very useful in source control. I mean, I want to say before like 2007, only a few people were using Merkle trees for source control. Then all of a sudden they took over the world, and as far as I can tell, I don't think anyone wants to go back. And I do feel that there are applications besides source control that Merkle trees can solve. But I can't really. I'm afraid I really I'm not able to vocalize exactly what the problems that Merkle trees solve for the source control, but whatever it is, I think there are other applications for it. So and for instance, there's a Nix OS, which is I don't know why it's not more popular than it is, but that's basically Merkle trees with binaries. You get a very good what do you call it, reproducible builds and so on. And I feel like it's a very important thing, but it hasn't really caught on as much as I think it has as I think it deserves to. And I do feel that there are other applications for Merkle trees that just, I don't know, maybe just people aren't used to it yet. And once they do see it, they will fall in love with it.
So I also want to share some personal experience, I guess. I wouldn't say that I have the answer to the whole question, but it's more like during the past several years, I had a few friends coming to me saying, "Oh, Jeffrey, what do you think of this application on Web3? What do you think of that application on Web3?" I always ask them the question, well, is this application doable in a centralized manner? Like some of the one example was like they want to do a medical record. I was like, well, this sounds like in Web2, like a centralized solution, and you can totally solve it with the existing solution. Why do you need to do Web2? I just trying to do some kind of living token or something like that. So that's my speculation, and that's also my part. Like, if you really see a application that you cannot do in a centralized manner, or there's some flaw that you try to solve with centralized solutions, then this is where you need Web3. I can give you a few examples. I guess the most famous one in our community was this decentralized exchange. There's this protocol called Uniswap, which allows you to change one token to another token without going through any centralized party and without any consensus or any censorship. And supposedly there are, like, say, 1/3 of the nodes are done, you can still make this change. The common example would be like, say, NASDAQ or something that you can only trade between 9 to 15, and you can only trade between Monday to Friday, and if there is something that for some reason they shut down, or maybe there's a Windows issue, then you won't be able to trade at all. And you probably will also need a United States social security number to be able to trade. Well, decentralized exchange actually border this exchange notion that you can change it, you can change anywhere as long as you can access the node, and you can change anytime. So that's a very typical example of what's results. I mean, you may think that okay, there are, like, say, risks like money laundering, etc., associated with it, but But I think risk comes with any new technology design. We should try to solve the risk. We should try to mitigate the risk rather than stay away from new techs.
Okay. Let's just change gear again. Another question for the audience. How many people here own an NFT? Do you want to talk about it? Yeah. I mean, yeah, NFTs. I mean, I often go to a shopping mall in Abu Dhabi, and I was going around and looking just shopping as my wife shop. I looked around, and in this window I saw NFTs for sale, they had these works of art. Some of them were physical works of art, some of them were digital, you know, in motion works of art. And there's this big machine in the corner, and you went up to it and it suggested you want to buy one of these NFTs, you put in your credit card. And one thing I do remember written in big letters underneath was no refunds, right? And every time I was in there, I used to wander around to see if there was anything happening, and I never saw anyone buy anything. Everyone just looked at it like it was weird and just, oh, that's a weird word. Everyone just looked like it was just weird and walked away again. And yet, once this was touted as a potential real world application, I mean, just to be concrete about it, Bitcoin has been an astonishing success. I mean, as a cryptocurrency, it works. Maybe you don't like cryptocurrencies, but you can't deny it works. Some people were hoping it would die, thinking it would die, but it hasn't died. It's still there, very robust. It's a brilliant idea. But I suppose the more general question is, just, can blockchain break out of, you know, I know Ethereum have done a lot of good work on contracts and stuff like that, and the NFTs were a big idea. And of course, the next big leap is the Web3. So, do you guys see, is blockchain showing signs of you know, getting out of that more that limited environment of usefulness?
First, I don't own the NFTs. NFT stands for non-fungible tokens, so it's like a unique representation of some data, and I don't own it, and I also think it's weird. Yeah. Let's get to this.
Well, yeah, well, I think there's two questions, but yeah, first, well, NFTs, yeah, I mean, I grew up with friends who played Magic the Gathering, and they spent a lot of money on cards which I couldn't. I never really got them. So I mean, already before blockchain, there were already things I didn't understand about why people value random cards, or even like some art. I would say like in the art world. So it's a whole thing that I really don't understand, but I'm happy to build any infrastructure that people want to run it on. And the other question was science of Web3. Yeah, so that I've never been able to predict that sort of thing. Like, I want to say around in the 2010s, I think they used to, that was back in those before 2010, maybe a bit later, even later than that. Most websites would just use HTTP, and then it's in the space of a year or two. I maybe I'm remembering things wrong. All of a sudden, everyone was using HTTPS. Like that was the year that decided that all of a sudden browsing had to be secure. And like Chrome would have this funny icon that would start complaining if you went to went to HTTP instead of without the S on the end. And so it's just I can't predict when people will suddenly care about a certain crypto feature. And yeah, I don't know why it was that year or whatever that time range. Maybe I'm getting wrong in my memory, but it felt like a very short time range when everyone thought it was stupid, and all of a sudden everyone thought, oh, we must have SSL, but we must visit Google or HTTPS instead of HTTP and so on. So yeah, I'm just really bad at picking up on signs like that. It's just every time it happens, it makes me by surprise. Actually, Git is another example. Like before Git, people were using CDS, and people were saying subversion is the next thing. That's what you should use. I mean, no one wants to use blockchain for source control. That's ridiculous. And now I don't think. I mean, all those people with those really good arguments for using subversion, I don't know what happened. Suddenly those arguments don't work anymore, and everyone's using Git now. So yeah, I was really bad at predicting these things. The crypto will sort of lie dormant for a while, and all of a sudden it will take over the world.
Yeah, regarding the question of NFTs, I don't own it. I always have a hard time understanding what people see in it, but as Ben, it's also hard for me to predict. Like perhaps people will end up finding good uses for it. I know a lot of people who are enthusiasts and actually believe that there is value in it, but I haven't been convinced yet exactly how with concrete applications, and I think that's the problem, that, once we see real world applications there out there that show that it can be something in the story, then at that point, I will believe in it. But I think this is with any technology, right? That sometimes there is a period and some of them will actually prevail and find use elsewhere. Others will die because people cannot. But I think that's the fun part of us, right? We have to try, and sometimes we just build the technology that can support that, and that's all we can do. Regarding and sometimes you're talking about bitcoins and things. It is an amazing thing. Like I guess digital currencies have been proposed in the crypto cryptography literature for many years, and it's something that came out of the blue that somebody really implemented that, and actually we still don't know who that person is, or at least I don't. But it's very cool to see that something that took over and brought a lot of interest, and I also find it surprising. I mean, that's what actually attracts me.
Yeah, just one issue with blockchain is I mean, all the applications of blockchain, you can't have a blockchain without a currency, a related currency. I mean, it seems to me that you can. Right, so you've got this currency involvement in there. So every potential of it is sort of involved with currency in some senses. And the initial Bitcoin, of course, is solved the problem of got the blockchain to work by this mining activity. It's rather hateful mining activity, which is not climate friendly at all. But that seems to have changed. I mean, Ethereum has gone proof of stake. The ICP, I'm not sure how it does it on proof of stake. So how is that working? That was a huge problem with blockchain, and it just, I mean, it seems to have gone without causing any major problems. I mean, could Bitcoin go the same way, or well, why isn't everyone doing it this way? It seems to work. Am I missing something? Oh, okay. Give the man away.
Sorry, going back to the original blockchain, Bitcoin paper, that didn't need to be used for currency. The fundamental premise of it, the thing that I think it actually is useful for, is that a blockchain can replace a trusted third party. In the context of currencies, you know, that's the central banks, blah, blah, blah. But the problem with blockchain, well, the problem I see with people who want to apply blockchain is that they think it's going to solve some problem when they don't actually understand how to solve the problem, even if they have a trusted third party, if they could trust the central bank or the US government or whoever. So that's why blockchain and Bitcoin sort of almost divorced themselves each other for a while. It's all two different problems. One's the currency, the other one is the retiring the trusted third party. So sorry, I went ego as soon as you said that it's all about currency. So I disagree. NFTs in this context are if you buy a Picasso painting, there's an entire industry around. You own the Picasso, here it is, it's oil on canvas, blah, blah, blah. And it has a chain of properties, and there are forgeries out there, and fakes, and they get stolen, they're sold on the black market, and so on. The thing is, we don't have any equivalent for anything digital, right? And that's what NFT is. Cracked in the head, in my opinion, but they said, oh, here's something digital that only you own. And we're going to solve that problem with Bitcoin or blockchain. But they don't really solve the problem either because it's unfortunate. So, sorry.
No, thanks. So blockchains can go green, yeah? Blockchains can go green.
maybe Ben answer first.
Yeah, actually, so one of the reasons the Fini was founded that was because the founder felt strongly that proof of work was a terrible way to go. I mean, it's a great idea in theory, it's just in practice it leads to huge wastes of electricity. And so he really felt proof of stake was the way to go. And I mean, yeah, he convinced me, especially well, he was going to use fearless to help with that. And yeah, I guess. If you, it's one of those things where if you assume, what is it, 2/3 of the people are acting honestly, then the proof of work was fine. And whereas, I mean, I guess proof of work does have a sort of different guarantee that doesn't rely on humans cooperating. But I think ultimately we are going to use blockchains to solve human problems. So I mean, it's not that bad to assume most humans following protocol.
Well, okay, I'm going to offer maybe a more practical view for me, like why Bitcoin can't go green. It's just because there are so many miners and they have put so much stake on it. And if you go green, like a lot of miners will be out of business and then Bitcoin price will drop. So that's why that's simple. Like Ethereum, when they changed to the POS, it really dragged a lot of miners out of the business, and you can still shop a lot of 3080 GPUs on the market, like much cheaper than their market price, and that's why.
And as you were saying, like Bitcoin or proof of work in general, it's a big issue to have all this waste of energy being used to produce blocks. But so in that sense, I see the move for proof of stake as being a better alternative that is more green, that is greener and things. The only part that I think is always debatable is how the security level that it can get, because like sometimes you in a proof of stake, there potentially perhaps it depends on a lot on the size of the network, but some of the smaller chains they end up being controlled by very few people, and then you don't know exactly how secure it can be. Why in a proof of work, at least in a bigger one, there is a lot more power, computing power that you have to put into it to be able to break. So yes, I think we should move as like the proof of stake direction. It's a promising one if we can guarantee security. But yes, and perhaps as you said, like by now we were hoping that Bitcoin would not be here because it's how much energy waste. But we can see that it's quite resilient as an idea. It still has a huge impact on the cryptocurrency world.
Finally, I think we're coming towards the end nearly. But can we, maybe it's time to talk about Web3. Right. You'll all be familiar with Molly White's blog. Web3 is going just great. Of course, she doesn't mean it. She means the exact opposite. It's not going just great. I mean, the whole vision thing of Web3, I mean, I guess if you want to get investment, you need to give a vision thing to your investors, right? So you need to do a pitch, which is out there, and then further out there, some of the pitches for Web3 are, I mean, they really are stretch. I mean, can any of you guys give me a passionate vision statement on where we're going to be? Where are we going to be 10 years from now? Vision, Web3 has arrived. What does the world look like? How did that all play out? I mean, if you look at the Ethereum Foundation webpage, they have this amazing screen called Infinite Garden. Have you read it? I mean, there's one line at the end of it I love. This is a quote. This is part of a very highfalutin, almost poetic vision statement of where vision of Web3 is taking us. And it says, we subtract to prioritize and focus on what is most important for Ethereum. Like a teapot, sometimes the usefulness of a thing is in where it is not. Wow, what a future. I mean, I shouldn't take the piss, like, sorry, apologies, it's not fair, I mean, there's lots of stuff like that. But I mean, is there an achievable vision, totally transformational, that'll kick in maybe 10 years from now? Okay, any of you guys convince me?
Well, actually, it's for me, it's already here today, because I often want to run a tiny little, just myself, I'm not, I just want to run a server somewhere on the web, and yeah, I could get pay Amazon or AWS or Google Cloud or something. But actually, I find the internet computer, like ICP, whatever it is, I don't really like the name of it, to be honest. But it actually is really easy to throw up some tiny server that can change state, and right now I do use it. Like, it's for trivial purposes, like I have an ISP at home which sometimes changes my IP address, and then I'd like to know when it does, so I can still SSH into my machine. So I just have a simple script that reports its IP address to the server I'm running on that blockchain, and it was way easier to do that than sign up for AWS and make sure that the servers are always running and so on. And it's the little things that make it attractive to me. I can just write a block of code, and then in no time, it's just there's a server somewhere on the web running, and it's also, I also have a version of sort of more passive use, which is just throwing content on the web. Like, I mean, it's the easiest way, I think, to throw a web page on the web. I just write a few lines, and then one command line later, and then it's already running on the web. And I think this actually has outside this personal use. I think it makes sense for tiny little businesses, maybe like maybe you want to do something like maybe you're a small local government and you want to keep track of who's paying the parking meters on the street, and you don't want to like hire a big team and to deal with AWS and Kubernetes and all that. You just want someone to write a small script and throw it online, and it just does enough to make sure the parking meters and cars are working as they should. And you just want to serve that works. You don't want a team trying to SREs and all that and make sure it doesn't go down. You just want something really simple that you can trust, and maybe doesn't have to handle really concurrent users or anything. It's and I think well, in my opinion, we've actually got something that along those lines. It's just I guess nobody really cares.
So, like, I think that, to me, blockchain is a technology that is here to stay, and I think probably the question that I was thinking about is like what it's going to be like in 10 years is more like what kind of challenges we have to address to like make it better.
But what's the destination?
Like one thing that I see, for instance, issue that we have to address now to make this more useful technologies. Like right now, you have so many different chains out there. I mean, how can they interpret the increase? Because every little chain depends. Some of them require you learning new tools for that one. They have a huge community associated with that chain. Like, it's a lot of work to start developing things for a single chain, for a particular chain, and then later, if that one doesn't work out, then you have to shift everything to a different one. How can you do things that are more easy to like transfer from one to the other? How can they communicate with each other? I assume that eventually the number of chains will decrease, that we're going to have a fewer ones, and perhaps other chains or layers on top of the basic one. Like, I can see that will.
Well, one thing I can see is, I mean, you can see all these utopian things that could happen down the line, but what's happening in the here and now is that actually often incredibly damaging. Like, poor people are losing money, damage has been done, scams are being perpetrated. So I mean, we would hope this will all end up in a good place, but as we travel along the road, it seems that there's an awful lot of damage being done, collateral damage to various ways. Would you agree, or is it going to be worth it? I mean, let me put it this way: if Mr. Satoshi, wherever he is or she is, do you think that they might be having a kind of an Oppenheimer moment of like, oh my God, what have I invented? You know, in terms of it didn't turn out to be for good at all, maybe, arguably. What do you think? Sorry.
Um, uh, well, I think, like I said earlier, like all the techs, I mean, not all the techs, but most of the techs, I mean, first time out, they are good and they are bad. And we just need to like enhance the good side and help to mitigate the bad side. But like, in terms of poor people get scammed or get robbed or something like that. I mean, I didn't do the analysis myself, but I think, well, similar things will happen in the traditional industry, etc. So it's not a unique thing to the web, so maybe web so make it easier for people. So that's similar to the web booming, like when web first come out, we don't have QoS, we don't have all these things to start people. Maybe that's our job, as a photographer, we need to make this blockchain more secure, building the infrastructure that for people, the people who doesn't have access to high tech will not get scammed or anything.
I'm old enough to remember the dot-com crash, and that was, but I wouldn't say the internet's a bad idea because that happened, and I'm sure a lot of people lost a lot of money on that thing. And also in global financial crisis of 2008, that was a lot of people also lost a lot of money, but I don't think it necessarily means the financial industry is bad or the mortgages are bad or anything like that. So yeah, I do feel, yeah, there have been people who've been scammed in the crypto world, and that's really bad too. But I don't think I think the core technology is still separate to that, and it can solve problems like as the Git source controls system has shown.
Yeah, no, I also agree that there will always be problems with the technology being misused. It is true that sometimes some of the things that we build make it easier for people to misuse it. So that is the part that we always have to keep in the back of our minds, like how the potential misuse of the technology that we're working on. But yeah, it doesn't mean that we should stop. And yeah, unfortunately, the problem is that scams are a huge problem in the crypto world, and I think they may not go away that easily. And I think they will be around. I think we just have to try to improve and make sure that people find ways to protect themselves or more awareness.
Right, we've come to the end. Maybe time for questions from the audience. Anyone? Oh, Francisco has a question.
Yeah, thank you. Just one quick question for you guys. I know that you have a lot of experience with Argument, Ethereum, and ICD. So how would you compare these coins? What are they offering? For instance, I don't know. What do you want to say about it?
Not a financial advice. So I went they are the first one. I mean, they are the first one to invent this QoS, and they're good for fast and high TPS transactions. I haven't really followed them for the last 3 years, but before that, they are really pushing for the high speed transactions. So they try to match the Visa speed. Ethereum is like I guess the main selling point or main feature for them is like a virtual machine that you can run any program on it. So that basically opens a lot of a door to a broader community, so you can have various applications, but at the core of Ethereum, it's not a consensus, it's actually the virtual machine. And that depends really on
Yeah, so my understanding was, I mean, the founder of Infinity, he was actually really keen on Ethereum back in 2015. He loved the idea that, the virtual machine, tackle-proof computation, and international, that just works all the time. But he feared that it wouldn't scale very well, and he didn't like its proof of work. And he had all these suggestions, and well, I think his side of the story is that the Ethereum community didn't really listen to his ideas, so he said, okay, I'm going to make my own blockchain and then with proof of stake and that scales with sharding and everything, and also with native WebAssembly support. So he decided to make a tamper-proof WebAssembly machine basically that with sharding, so it scales. And that was, but since then, Ethereum was also changed to proof of stake and they have sharding as well. So in some sense, there's more, there's sort of conversions, a similar model, I guess. And I don't know much about Avalanche, was it? No. The other one, yeah, the other thing I didn't hear what you said, but I don't know much about it anyway.
Well, not much to add, besides like, as I said, I've proof of stake approach this have more potential and it's slightly greener, and so in that sense we see both the fact that Ethereum moved to it. The community has been working with this model for a while. As I said, no, I don't, but I'm always on the research side, so I guess GHTC and Ben have a better look at a better view of this.
I don't know if I think time is up. Sorry. Alex, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay. Go for it.
So you folks made a lot of mentions about the financial crisis in the past to try to justify the fact that you folks are unregulated and uncontrolled. So the question here is, why do you think the industry in this case, this industry in this case is special versus the dot-com bubble versus the financial crisis of 2008, that the results of both were stronger regulations, so we avoid having those problems in the future. But now you argue for no regulation, and you think, and you are arguing that we should just live with the consequences of that. So, like for me, it's like counterintuitive statement. So why is this being argued in this way? Why the justification for no regulation is a financial crisis that the outcome of what was actually regulation. So if you could clarify this to me, thank you.
I'm sorry, I don't think I advocated for or against any non-regulation. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I'm happy with regulation, but, I guess.
I also have a similar view. I think it's actually, it's quite important to add some more regulations to eventually deal with these issues, because as I said, if you don't enforce the rules, things can be abused, and I think it's going to be an important outcome. Of course, we have to find the right balance about how much regulation, how much legal aspects they have to deal with it, so that it also doesn't hinder the technology. But I think it's important to work towards more regulated world.
I would say that my personal stand is like I'm not advocating for regulation or non-regulation, and I'm just a researcher at Ethereum, and they take you way less than these answers to this question, I guess. But like if you compare it with say 2008 or 2000, something like that, the dot-com bar. I would say like it's because of regulation. I mean, I don't think regulation is the key difference here. the key difference here is like you have a new tag and you're trying to inverse a new tag. And there are collateral damage. And the inventor or the maintainer of the tag needs to be vigilant and needs to improve. That's the main purpose. It's not the regulators.
Okay, I think we're done. I'd like to thank our panelists for very stimulating, wide-ranging debates, which I'm sure will carry on outside. So thank you very much.